let me introduce Don Andrews. He's a nationally known watercolor artist and workshop instructor. He has conducted painting workshops throughout the US, Canada, Mexico, Europe, and Africa for over 25 years. He's an active member and past board director of the American Watercolor Society. His paintings have received numerous awards and national watercolor competitions, including 3 awards from the American Watercolor Society and 2 Best of Show awards from the New England Watercolor Society. He's the author of 3 books, Interpreting the Figure in Watercolor, Interpreting the Landscape in Watercolor, and Rough Sketches, Short Stories of a Traveling Artist. He has also created DVD workshop sets now available online. The Figure in Watercolor he has a workshop set on that and one on painting landscapes. And then another DVD on making watercolor glow taken from his original video. So he teaches classes on Zoom, which has been a real boon for him because it saves him having to travel from one place to another, which I'm sure really wore him out. But anyway, I'd like to introduce Don Andrews. I'm really looking forward to his workshop. So here you go. Here's Don.
Oh, thank you, Liz. And thank everybody for being here. And Martha, I guess you still can't speak to anybody, but Martha says she's thrilled to be here. I'm sure she is. I'm going to do for you, Martha, let's go down to the palette now. Oh. Okay, there we go. Liz asked me to just take a minute to tell you what materials and brushes and paint and that kind of thing that I'll be using. And so I'm using 2 different brands of brushes these days. Both of them are synthetics, what we call synthetic sable. And that is the Robert Simmons synthetics and the Cheap Joe's Art Stuff, the American Journey synthetics. And I use them both, like them both. They're very interchangeable. And the reason I like them is, I don't know if this is going to show very well, but they all have a lot of snap. When you bend it over, it jumps right back to a nice beveled edge. And the same with the American Journey. They're inexpensive, really, and they last for several years. So I've used them for many, many years. So, this is and I have all of the brush sizes, I guess, but 2-inch flat, 1.5-inch flat. This is a Winsor Newton 1-inch flat. Everybody should have this brush. It's $25 or so. I bet this brush is easily 10 years old. It just holds its form so beautifully and handles so well. And you can find them in most any of the catalogs. Then this is the American Journey 1 3/4 inch. I'm using a lot of flat brushes these days. And people always ask me, well, why are you used to use mostly pointed brushes and now you're using mostly flat brushes? Why is that? And that's an excellent question. I have absolute no reason other than it just feels right. And so I do have pointed brushes, of course, but I'm using more and more flats, and you'll see that in the demo tonight. Also, my 3 favorite pointed brushes. This is Robert Simmons, the number 10, American Journey 12, and Robert Simmons 14. I use those 3 pointed brushes a lot. And of course, I have lots and lots of other little different brushes, but these are the workhorses, and that's what I use most of the time. Okay, I'm going to tell you, and let me move this out of the way. I oh, there we go. I use a limited palette, and I have for a number of years. Uh, and I always remember my teacher, great California painter, Robert E. Wood. Some of you who've been around a little while have heard of him. And I got this from him that he challenged our class. He said, "Is a limited palette limited?" And then he said, "Choose a limited palette and then mix like crazy." And then he did a demo of the most colorful, wonderful, vibrant painting with 6 colors. And that's what he recommended, and that's what I'm recommending to you. I'm giving you the Reader's Digest version of an explanation on a limited palette. But if you'll go, not tonight, but when you have time, go to Don Andrews Studio. Martha, make sure I'm telling them right. Go to Don Andrews Studio and hit videos and scroll down. There is a video. It's a Guatemalan church. I think it's the name of it is Color Harmony. And I do about a 45-minute demo on explaining how to use a limited palette and how wonderful a limited palette is. And then I do a painting demo after that. And the video is free. And so just when you get a chance, and if you want to know more about the ways to go about utilizing a limited palette, I get into detail in that video. Excuse me. So tonight I will be using 6 colors in a limited palette, and basically it's the I use primary colors. I mix all my secondaries. I don't have any violets, oranges, greens on my palette. Uh, Tonight for the limited palette, the light blue is going to be cerulean blue, and the dark blue will be ultramarine blue. On the red side, the light red will be fuchsia or opera, and the dark red is permanent magenta. And then on the yellow side, the light yellow is aureolin or aurelian, however you prefer to say it, and burnt sienna. And I know burnt sienna is not really yellow. There's no such thing as a dark yellow. It turns into something else. But we're using the earth tones as a dark yellow, and that is as close to yellow as we can get. And so those will be the 6 colors that we are using. Martha, if oh, and they're all American Journey, Cheap Joe's art stuff. I have used them for 20 plus years, and I recommend them highly. They're a good value. And so they're all of these color, the brand is American Journey. Martha, if you can go to the board now. There we go. What I'm going to do for you, our son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter just got back from a trip to Ireland, Scotland, one of those. We went to Ireland, they went to Scotland. Uh, and that they're really into that kind of thing, the Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what kids do these days, but they went to all of these castles, and it's raining and misting and all of that moody stuff, and so I was going to wanted to do a painting for their Christmas present of one of the castles, and so I've been playing around with that, and I would like to do a demo of one of these castles. It has a name. I just don't know what it is. Uh, but it's a pretty well-known castle, and some different photographs of it. Uh, I liked very much that this darker image here, you really can see the form in the shadows in here. But you get lost a little bit in terms of the color of the neutrals and some beautiful neutrals, and maybe you can see them a little bit better. They're both warmer and cooler, and they complement each other very nicely. And so that's going to be the subject matter. And without further ado, I'm going to jump in. Now, I don't know if y'all are muted or not, or if you want to ask questions, it's perfectly okay. I don't know if Martha gets them or Liz gets them or I get them, but anyway, it's okay if you have questions during the
If you have any questions, put them in the chat and then I can forward them to Don.
Very good. Thank you, Liz. All
And
right.
also that castle is the Eileen Donan Castle in Scotland. I've been there.
I know that it's famous, and they I think they went to every castle in there, but that was really a special one, and they liked a lot. Uh, so I wanted to do that for them. And I'm going to just move this off on the side. You'll be able to see it a little bit anyway over here on the side. And and if need be, I'll move it back at some point there. So here's the drawing, just kind of the outside edges of the castle, and I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to backlight the castle. And basically, the castle's going to be dark. I'm going to put the best light behind it. It's a very moody kind of a day. Lots of mist, lots of clouds, that kind of thing. And I wanted to emulate that. And let me get my setup here. And probably going to need some water before it's over with.
So Don, what paper are you using?
Okay, this is I have used this paper since I started painting. It's Arches 140 cold press, and it's like an old friend. And if you've been painting a long time, you started with Arches 140 cold press. That was the paper 50 years ago, but nowadays there are all kinds of good papers and brands. But I've used it for so long, I know what it'll do, I know what to expect. And so anytime I try another brand, I tend to, it doesn't handle exactly the same as Arches. So I always go back to the Arches. And I'm going to start off, as I do a lot, by wetting this down. I know it's not the most exciting part of the demo, but I'm going to just take a minute. I'm working on, this is a half sheet painting, but I'm working on a full sheet. So I'm going ahead and wetting down the entire page so that what will it do, Don? It'll relax evenly. I like to get it good and wet, and as you can see me doing now, I've really worked the water into the fiber of the paper. And I have found that usually I give it 2 coats of water so that it really is nice and damp and stays wet a little bit longer that way. And by the time I get down here, it will dry. I've re-wet many times in the process of the painting.
So I have a question, Don.
Yes.
Someone wants to know how you secure your paper to the board, or do you?
I do, and I think it's important to. I'm going to just move this to the side enough to where you can see
Oh, I see. You got
clips. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then that way, when the paper relaxes, I can just pull and I'll do that in just a few minutes.
Right.
I'll just open the clip up and pull the paper taut and then clamp it.
Right.
I'm making a gray with ultramarine, I'm sorry, cerulean, a little, this is called Red Hot Mama, it's Scarlet Lake, and a touch of Aureolin. My three light primaries mixed together, mixed to a nice gray. We're going to come in and just, let me get that. Just get that a little stronger, a little bit warmer. I'm going to put a bit more of just a touch more of the Red Hot Mama in there. And we'll bring this down. I want this to be a moody feeling here. And a little darker. I'm going to put a little burnt sienna into the mixture with cerulean. That'll give us a darker gray. And a little more warmer. And let's do it one more time, a little darker still.
Don, are you working at an angle?
I am just about, I always say it's about 30 degrees. And that's also something I've done for many, many years. In the old days, and again, in the old days, I was much more dramatic angle than I am now. And that has gradually changed and altered. But it's enough of an angle to where, some movement occurs in the painting. I want to get that there. And we'll just, let me grab a tissue. Okay. And now, I'm just taking a good bit of cerulean blue and just putting that right into the gray. So it's a gray, it's neutralized, but and see, this is already dried. See the hard edge there? Let me wet that back down again. And that's something that you kind of have to get used to in demos with the zoomed is these lights are pretty hot and they dry the paper a little faster than what I'm used to, but it's always good to have an excuse when you're doing a demo. So a little bit of a blue gray there, and then we'll come out over on this side as well. And I want to lift off a little feeling of fog, that kind of thing. It's always foggy there. Isn't that right, Liz?
Well, the day I was there was sunny and clear.
Okay. And you see how it's buckling up on the bottom? I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but I'm just coming in now and taking that clamp off and taking this clamp off. And and stretching the page as the painting is under construction. And one of the things that I believe in, I don't know where I heard this, but it's good advice. And I'll bet that's completely dry. It is. Somebody, some teacher somewhere told me a wonderful design concept that is the simplest thing, but is so effective. They said to organize your page, whatever you have in the top, put a little bit in the bottom. Whatever you have on the right, put a little bit on the left. So I'm coming in, and that just is a simple, easy to remember concept, but doggone it, it's a good, it makes sense. It organizes the page. It makes the page belong together. And so it's no accident that I am mixing pretty much the same neutral gray that I have in the sky. We're also placing in the bottom of the page. I pick up a little bit of some hints of textural things there. And I'm gonna mix a stronger gray now. Bring maybe a little cooler. And then what you have on the right, put a little in the left. Counterbalance. Okay. Now, right into all of that gray, that blue gray there, I'm going to stick my brush into Aurelian and just make a lighter green that, let's see, let me see if I can show you off that. There's a little passage of grass and that kind of thing there that is in the front. I want to have that at least hinted at there. So it's a
Right there.
it's a gray. It's a gray, but it's a green gray. And I'll put a little blue into that as well. Okay. And we're going to warm it up down here once this dries. I better soften an edge or two. Let me get a flat brush. And we'll just soften that. Let it blend a little bit. Let it blend. Okay. Now I have to do the castle. Let me clean up real quick. I want it to be, I really like the warmth. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's all grays, but it's warm gray and then a cooler gray played against it. And I really like that. I want to emulate that if I can. And we'll have to stop and let this dry a time or two. I hope. Well, let me just make sure that sky is
Here, here.
Okay. Gonna have to do this a little bit in stages, but it'll be kind of light, middle to dark. And in my palette, I'm making one side
No, because it's live
a
and it's
cooler gray here, adding the three primaries together. And then same three primaries, Cerulean Blue, Red Hot Mama, and Aurelian, but a bit more to the warm side here. And we'll adjust that as needed. Okay. Just pre-wetting, just following the outline, not trying to find anything, getting it wet. Save a little bit of light. There's a light on the bridge. That's a bridge that's leading there. And getting, as I'm doing, I tend to give it a second coat so it stays reasonably wet. And we just come in and not put a little bit of burnt sienna into this and letting that blend down. This is what I call granulation. I'm letting this mingle on the page. And I'm not sure if that was Joe or someone else who was asking about the tilt of the board, but that's why the board is tilted. Just going to strengthen that warm up just a little bit more and just a little bit more in there. And then just let it blend down the page. And then I'm reaching over into the cooler grays. And so it's going to be a variety of warmer, cooler, lighter, and darker grays here. Oh, it's blending down to my grass.
Just unmute yourself, it's better
so
hear.
Okay. And a little cooler still. And just letting that blend down. I don't want it to go into the grass, but it's going to, so we'll think of something. And let's let that get cooler as well. Okay. Now I hate to do this. Well, I'll stall as long as I can. Let me let that gray then come over here. And here. And soften that light up a little bit. And now I'm going to, let me just doctor this a minute and I'm gonna pick up the hairdryer. Everybody, you need to go to the bathroom, now's the time to do it. Uh, I'd like to get your opinion, all of you. What would you say is more exciting in watching a painting demonstration? Would you say it's more the wetting down of the paper, or would it be the drying off of the paint? Which of those two activities is it's just riveting, is it not? Okay. Oh, what we have here are the whites and the lights in the painting. And that's what I call the traditional approach. It's basically, and all of you are familiar with it. We start in with the lights and gradually work in the middle values and then finish up with the darks. And so I'm gonna just come in and put a little bit of a warm, there's a nice warm in the rocks down below the grass. And middle values, a little hint of some structure there. Just pull that on. All right, this is dry now. I'm gonna re-wet, get a smaller flat. This is use a lot. This is an oldie, half-inch flat. Let me. All right. Just gonna wet this down a second time. Didn't mean to put that much paint on it. And a little bit bigger. Wetting this down. And I want to have some change in the shapes and the shadows of the castle, warmer and cooler. And this is dried there. I'll have to soften as I go. Soften as I go. And now, when it's wet, I really like this textured, it's, you know, stone that has been there for, I don't know, centuries. And it really has a wonderful textural feeling to it. And I'm letting all of this kind of blend inside the the outside structure and be soft edge inside. I want the edges, the outside edges, to tell the story of the form. And so all of that is it's blending. I don't know if y'all can see it's soft and edge. And I'm just kind of leading it and pushing it and letting it go a little darker, a little lighter as needed. Just pre-wetting this because I'm getting too many of these harder edges that I don't mind having a few of them, but I want it to be mostly blended here. And now we can bring it in darker, cooler. This is ultramarine blue. Oh, it's one of my favorite grays, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. And it's so flexible. It really gives you beautiful warm and cool and right down the middle neutrals. And I use it a lot. Nice and dark on this edge here and this edge there. Just want to darken this up a little bit, little bit. A little stronger here on the edge. And want to just find one darker area there. And a little accent. I'm gonna let that dry, I think. Grabbing my little number 10 round, and I'm mixing. Boy, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, if you go strong, it will go right to I don't know if it's black, but it'll scare it black to death. I'm just gonna touch in while it's still wet, and let that just blend a little bit. And it's still not wanting to blend as much as I want it to. Get it wet. There we go. And as I often do, I'm coming in with water, just not a lot of water, but just wanted to blend a bit more and feathering that out with water and letting that ease down the page, ease down the page. Okay. And now, same thing here. And this quite dark, this area. Just wetting it down, letting it blend. And also, why do I do this? I'm just coming out, getting some water on my fingers and just do a few little textural things with the, I don't know if y'all can see that, and probably good if you can't. But we'll let that dry. And we'll come in with the next value change. And this is ultramarine. I'm just mixing it into that gray mixture and just a little neutral there. Probably do well to pre-wet this area. I want the far away, a little more differentiation between the closer, I don't know if they're mountains or hills or whatever they are, but a little more differentiation there. And then I'll back off of it just a little bit. Oh, need to pre-wet it. And now we're bringing in. Okay. Try to put a little dry brush on the water there. Let me make a darker gray or green. This is cerulean, aureolin, and then I'm just grabbing some of this gray and mixing it in. And kind of need to have it a bit dark. That might be too dark. We'll place this. Don't have to be accurate exactly with these bushes. They're kind of scraggly. Just, I don't know. You know, okay, plant another one here. They're just kind of haphazardly thrown about. They weren't thinking in terms of designing the page for the artist when they planted those. And that's a little cutout. I'm just gonna reach in and soften a few of those edges there. And while we're down there, where's my oh, I should, you know, you try to hurry along as best you can when you're doing a demo, and that's probably not the best thing. I like to, these days, I've been doing a lot of pre-wetting areas before painting them in, and softens them up and blends them a little bit. So now, yeah, have that wet, and we'll bring in some kind of hint of a dark in there. And this area was pretty quite dark through there. Just bouncing around. And we may have to darken those again, maybe not. Now going back to that warmer gray, just to, this is where I need to take time and just get a feeling of the textural effect on the bridge. And I'm probably getting ahead of myself with these strong darks. We'll see if they'll hold. Yeah, that seem to be doing okay. Let's get another tissue, everyone. Soften up that light. I like the feeling of the fog, but it's a little too linear there. Fatten it up and let it blend softer. Softer. Okay. A little darker green grass growing up high there. And never fails. I like the wash repeat down here, but not strong enough in value. And so I want to come back, get it, re-wet it. I do this all the time. Give it a second application. And it's the old Ed Whitney saying, if it looks right when it's wet, it's wrong. And I guess we can all relate to that.
So Don, I have a question from the audience.
Okay.
What colors are you using to mix the darkest dark? Is that the burnt sienna and ultramarine?
Yes. And it's a wonderful gray because it absolutely goes light to middle to dark and warm to neutral to cool. There's a little window right in here. I don't know if we need it or not, but we'll put that in there. But yes, those are neutrals are that gray. This is maybe blending a little bit. We'll come in and let that lift out a little. I need to get those two off of white, but I can't do it until that dries there. And this is a little too active there. Lift off a light. Make sure you got that dark enough. Lift off a little bit of this. And I'm going to, everybody, I apologize again. Let me stop and dry it off. not dry, but it's dry enough to where it won't blend together now. And let me try and lift off a couple of accents again. Okay. Oh, a little dry brush in there. In there. All my bricks melted together. Just a few hints of stone. And ask the viewer to interpret that as old stone wall or bridge. Okay, everybody, we're getting close. We're getting close. I don't want to force you to watch me tickle all the things. I'm a tickler. Okay, they just drive. See those two whites in there are just so pronounced. I'm just taking a gray, a little gray, and just easing those off of there. And that helps just to, we don't want to accentuate that area too much. And this could be darkened a little. Okay, now just need a couple of sure enough darks around. I don't even know what this thing is here. But it's there. And then there's one more thing here. I don't know. Do we really need this, Don? But it was there. A window, a little archway in here. And maybe we'll come in and let this be just a little darker, just a little darker, and let that blend there. And Just a little change. One more little darker blending. Okay. Let's let that just go over there. We're getting real close, everybody. Just want this to be a darker blend right in here. Just hint at the side of that wall there.
You still have plenty of time, Don.
Oh, thank you. I just, I know me. What I'm gonna start doing is getting out the little three-haired brush and start, and it's usually better if I, that reminds me, great California painter, one of my favorites ever, Rex Brandt. And boy, if y'all are not familiar with, please Google, look up Rex Brandt. You'll fall in love. He was truly a master, and from San Diego, born and raised, and of course he's passed on now. But one of the things he said, and well, he was talking to me. He said, your painting is usually finished before you are. I can always find one more thing, and usually it's better if we don't just get every blade of grass. Okay. Well, we have some foreground. I need these foreground rocks. I'm just going to make them just a simple dark, just to give it makes things a little more three-dimensional. I don't want to tell too much about them, except that they were there. Nice and dark. And And okay, this didn't do just right. Gonna soften a few of these lights in here. And now get my little busy brush. Let's see how many little hints of water I can do. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. A little bit is good, but I can be a tickler. We all have to be aware of our bad habits. I keep trying to lift off the light. There, that's a little better. That should be enough. Okay, I'm just gonna soften this out here. It's a little too close in value. And we don't want to bring too much attention over here. That's a little better. Let's soften a little bit. Okay, I think that I'm going to put the mat on it and see what we have. I always enjoy, especially when doing a demo, enjoy putting the mat on because I don't know who invented mats, but we should build a shrine to that person. I don't think I've ever done a painting that didn't look better when I put the mat on it. Let's see. Let me move this out of the way. And there we go. Oh, Martha, should I move this? Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
there we go.
Beautiful.
All right, everybody. That kind of has the feeling that I was hoping for. And it's kind of a moody deal and overcast and that kind of thing. And so that was what I was hoping for. And I want to thank everybody, all of you, for taking a little time and being with me. And so on behalf of Martha and me, thank you all for inviting us, and we'll hope to see you again.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don. That was wonderful.
Oh,
Beautiful painting.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying so. All right, I guess, Martha, we will shut it down and Liz, thanks for all your help in getting all this organized. And it's
You're
always
welcome.
a
And thank you
challenge.
everyone for showing up.
Yeah.
And,
Thanks, Liz.
no meeting next month for the holidays. So wishing everybody happy holidays. And we'll see you back in January.